to the NXT Podcast, your home for weekly NXT reviews and insight.
The beautiful part of NXT is that when one dream ends, another dream begins.
Find all of your NXT news, recaps, and analysis right here. So with that being said, we only have one question for you.
Are you ready?
We thought so. Let's get the show started right now.
Hey everybody, how are you? This is Jay again doing the NXT review for the episode that aired on October 1st, 2024 from the United Center in Chicago, Illinois. And it was a really good show. I'll get into the particulars after I go through match to match. But the show was really good. I just finished watching it. Right now it's about 6 o'clock on the Wednesday. I wasn't able to watch it last night, so I've been watching it today, and I was really happy. I feel bad that I couldn't watch it, but next week we'll do it. So anyway, I love the fact that the place was packed. The crowd was hot. It looked like there was a lot of people on the camera side of, where the alpha camera points on the far side. But on the back side, I don't think there's probably people above in the top where the camera is. But either way, huge crowd, fire crowd. I love watching everybody just cheer, and the main event, they were going nuts. But we're going to get into that in a second. So, like I said, it was live from Chicago, the United Center, and we're going to go right into the review and let you know what I think. So, as the show opens, you hear Sexy Boy, and Shawn Michaels comes out, and he does a little bit of a dance. I mean, obviously, he doesn't have the moves like he did back in the 90s and 2000s, but it's still Shawn Michaels when he comes out. And the cool thing is, so recently, if you watch all the WWE shows, when the crowd they have been singing the songs. And I think Randy Orton actually said he's happy now that the crowd is singing his theme songs 15 years too late. I actually heard at one point that Randy doesn't particularly care for his theme song, but he loves the fact that the crowd is singing it. It's a newer thing. I think it started around the time with Seth Rollins and then Cody Rhodes, and now they're singing CM Punk's theme, which, that song was out, I don't know, it was out in the 90s, I think, on the mainstream radio. Anyway, but Shawn Michaels comes out and the crowd is singing Sexy Boy and everybody's having a great time, and he comes to the ring and he welcomes everybody. And he says, now that we're on a new channel, to debuting this new show, which is the old show, but new show. He debuts new major title belts. So the NXT World Title and the Women's World Title. They both have brand new styles. To be honest, does it need to be done? No. I actually, to kind of get on the side for a second, I loved what they did with the Intercontinental belt. I always hated the new Intercontinental belt, and I love the fact that they put a little blue in it for Jey Uso's belt. But anyway, did NXT need new title belts? Probably not. They were cool. I actually really liked the old ones that they had, but you move with the times, I guess. Anyway, then all of a sudden, Triple H comes out, and Shawn Michaels says, I only have one question for you. And then Triple H comes out from the crowd, or, it looked like it was from the crowd. It was not from the ramp side, and said, "Are you ready?" And then they both say, "Are you ready?" Which is awesome. So the two of them together obviously brings me back to my childhood. I used to, I was watching, not childhood, I was like high school, college age when I was watching when DX was big. So anyway, I got something wrong. I'm the first person to admit when I'm wrong, and I did get something wrong. I thought that the first match was going to be Trick. I think I said last week The first match was going to be Trick and Ethan. Of course, I was dead wrong on that, which we'll get to in a second. But so the first match was actually the women's world title match between Julia and Roxanne Perez. So Julia comes out. Her look is awesome. Like, I actually really like. It's similar in fashion to Kairi Sane, and I love that look, and I love Julia's look. So she comes out. Her demeanor is awesome. She's just a presence. Like, Julia's just a presence. And then Roxanne comes out, and like you could tell. Like, I feel like, I don't know if this is a thing. I think it is. It's probably less expensive, but now they're using more lasers instead of fireworks. I think that was a thing that they've done, which, using lasers is a lot cheaper than reusing reusing lasers is a lot cheaper than using fireworks every time. So I think they made the switch. Like, not everybody has fireworks. So Roxanne comes out with this barrage of fireworks. So then the match, commercial happens, the match starts, and there's a lot of great back and forth. This match was, I will say, it's not PLE level, but it definitely wasn't general NXT show level. But it was a great match, went back and forth, back and forth. At one point, Roxanne hits Pop Rocks, but then Julia, rolls out of the ring, which is a lot like something that I feel like Gunther has done a couple times before, right? But she rolls out of the ring, and then Roxanne runs over and grabs the belt and distracts the referee, and then Julia gets jumped by someone. It's thrown back in the ring. We found out later who it is. She throws her back in the ring, and then Roxanne hits Pop Rocks again and then gets the win. And then we find out after the last, 1, 2, 3, we look back, and it's Cora Jade who came back to NXT, and that's going to be really interesting. The whole, I think I said last week, the women's division in NXT is by far the most superb women's division in all of WWE, probably in all of wrestling. I mean, let's be honest. Especially when Jordynne Grace comes over. It's ridiculous. The women's division at NXT is absolutely ridiculous. It's amazing. They have so many good people. We're just waiting for a bunch of them to move up. I think eventually the next one will be Roxanne Perez, but right now she's still the champion, so that's not going to happen. Anyway, so Cora Jade is the person with the hood on, and then we go to the next segment after that's all settled down, and it's CM Punk and Trick and Ethan and how they arrive, in the beginning. And I know that that Matt says that he likes the walking, the shot of them walking in for the first time. It kind of gives it a whole sports look, which I agree with. It's a great look. First you see one person walking in, then you see another person. This one just happens to have 3 people because CM Punk is the special guest referee. So the next thing that comes up is going to be the street fight between Wesley and not Trey Wentz. Oh my God, Zach Wentz. So I noticed when they came back from commercial, I noticed they did a lot of aerial shots of the city of Chicago, which gave it a way of a more main roster show feel. How in every city they go to, they have that aerial view of whatever city they're in. I think that it definitely gives it more of a main roster show. SmackDown, Raw. Since they're not doing it in Orlando in the Performance Center, they're doing it in a city. They're giving it that feel, which I think is great. Anyway, then Fraxian comes out. If you know, Fraxian is Axiom and Nathan Frazier. They're playing 2K24, and they're going against A-Town Down Under so that they can figure out how to beat them, which I thought was kind of weird. It wasn't my favorite segment, to be honest. Later on, Ava is talking to CM Punk, and CM Punk says that he plans that there be a definitive winner down the middle. And then Lexis King comes out to talk to Punk, and King says he's trying to be a better man, and he asked Punk if he saw what happened last week, and Punk said he did. So Punk says that Aura pulled a fast one on him last week, and he can, he said Lexis King can make a decision. He can decide to win at all costs or fight against the genes that you're born with. And, of course, that had to do with Brian Pillman Sr. For those of you that don't know, and I think all of you pretty much do, but Lexis King is actually Brian Pillman Jr. And he was Brian Pillman Jr. in AEW because they, personal opinion, I think they were trying to use his name to gain notoriety. But when he came to WWE, they decided to let him be his own person. So they said, you don't have to use your father's name. You can be your own person, and we'll build you up. Because if you're good, then you're going to be good for you, not because of who your father is, which I thought was great. Then they fist bump, and they go their separate ways. Then we have a promo package. One thing I noticed on the CW episode was when they would do promo packages. So my thought is that there are people watching NXT on the CW, that's what they're figuring anyway, that didn't watch it on USA, or they're watching it now because they've got all these big names, and they've been really promoting these big names coming on the main shows as well. So they decided to have promo packages before the match, kind of like a PLE. Obviously, they didn't have as much time. There's only 2 hours, so they couldn't do it for everything, and they couldn't do it as long. But they tried to do some promo packages. So for those of people that didn't know what was going on and they were watching it for the first time, they were able to see the promo package and kind of get caught up, which they did for the Wesley and Zach Wentz match. This match was friggin' great. I know my father he's more of an old school kind of person. He doesn't really, every time somebody pulls a table out, he rolls his eyes, right? And I know you're listening, and I know you're going to probably say that I'm right, and I am right, because I personally, as long as they don't do it every match like ECW or something, I like the occasional street fight or whatever. I'm surprised they didn't call it a Chicago street fight, to be honest. But anyway, that's a whole separate issue. This was a great match. Wesley comes out with a shopping cart with all kinds of stuff. Kendo stick, there's a garbage can, all kinds of things. And then when Wentz comes to the ring, at one point, Wesley shoves the shopping cart into Zach Wentz between the stairs, so they got that was kind of crushed there, which is kind of cool. I want another point. He was filling, Wesley was just chucking chairs into the ring left and right. It's funny. They didn't. This is kind of an aside. They didn't have a table, but they had a plank, like a plank. What's it called? Wooden sheet. Like paneling, but not really. I don't know what it's called. I'm not a construction guy. I don't know what it's called. Anyway, but they ended up putting that over top of two chairs, and at one point they went through it like a table, but it wasn't a table. It's kind of weird. I don't know. Tell me what you think about that. Anyway, so he's filling the ring with chairs, and then at one point they said during the break. So part of the issue with having on CW versus the USA Network is on USA every once in a while they could do the picture-in-picture commercial thing. So you could watch it while you're watching commercials, which I always found distracting, but you could if that was something you liked. And obviously now on the CW, they don't have that option. So there was twice during this show where they had to say, during the break, this happened. Okay? So at this point, they talked about, during the break, there was a Hurricane Rana done onto a chair, which is freaking awesome. Oh my God. It's too bad that it wasn't on regular TV because I like Vic. I like Vic Joseph. I think he brings a lot of like, oh my god, kind of reactions to it. Booker T, take him or leave him, but I think Vic is pretty good. At one point, I'm sorry. You know what? I apologize. There was a table on the far side of the ring by the ramp, and at one point, Wesley throws Zach Wentz over the top rope, completely overshoots the table. Nothing happens to the table, and he just lands on the floor, which I thought was weird. Yeah. I don't know, but anyway, it was a great match, and the ending of the match was awesome. So Wesley brought out a chain, started punching, wrapping it around his fist and punching him a couple times, and the last thing that he did was he got on the second rope, wrapped a chain around his knees, and then gave him a Meteora with the chain on his knees. Which, let me tell you, that looked like it hurt. Pre-planned, not pre-planned, whatever. That Meteora with a chain on your knees looked like they were both guys. But anyway, as a result, Wesley gets the win. And I guess they're going to move on. It was a great match. Phenomenal match. Which, one of the things I forgot to mention before the promo was, before the match that I just talked about, there was a promo between Lola Vice and Jada, that about not being on the same page, and they both were like, you need me, and then Kalani Jordan comes out and says, you guys need each other, but then Kalani says she's got a backup plan, which I found it quite interesting. So they're later on going against oh my god, I forgot who they are. Oh well, it goes they go against Fatal Influence. That's who it is, Fatal Influence. So then we have The Miz, who walks to the ring apparently during the commercial. So The Miz got what we call a jobber entrance, which again, time constituents. Like they only have 2 hours, so they can either waste it with the Miz coming out, or they can have the entrances for the participants of the match next week, which is what they decided to do. Of course, the crowd boos. I don't know if you guys saw what happened on Raw the night before, but the Miz turned on R-Truth. So as soon as the Miz comes out, as soon as it comes back from commercial, Miz is in the ring, the crowd is booing the crap out of him. Because, R-Truth, he's a national treasure. Everybody loves R-Truth. He's awesome. And then the fact that the Miz turned on him, man. The Miz, he's been a heel most of his life, most of his career, I guess. He continues to be a great heel, and him being a babyface with R-Truth was cool for a while, but heel Miz is always better Miz. Okay, so then the Miz brings out Obafemi and then Tony D'Angelo, and he's doing a Miz TV for that, to promote their match for next week. Tony discussed being afraid. They started the what chants again while Tony was talking, and Tony actually kind of fed into it. While Tony was talking about how he's feeling about the match, the crowd started doing the what chants, and then Tony kind of did his promo with the what chants, which you're just encouraged. The what chants are driving me. It's been what? Excuse me. It's been 20 years of the what chants, more than that, 25 years of the what chants. Can we retire the what chants, please? Anyway, moving on. And Obafemi then addresses, and he says that Tony really doesn't believe what he's saying. He said that, Tony has a ceiling and he'll never be the North American champion, and this is his title. So we shall see. To be honest, the whole Miz TV thing was boring. I'm going to win. No, you're not. Let's move on. That was it. It really wasn't anything. The Miz TV thing. I mean, Miz was there. It was great. They're pulling out all the stops for the first episode on the CW with, Miz and CM Punk and, Triple H came and Shawn Michaels. But at the end of the day, that segment just was not good. Okay. Moving on. Yeah, of course, and the Miz has to say that the match is gonna be awesome. Yeah, great. Thanks, Miz. You did your tagline. Now go back. Then we had a recap of the women's title match from earlier in the evening, and then they interviewed Cora Jane while they're doing, Cora. Right, Cora. Then then Roxanne comes out and Cora says that she likes the woman that she's become, and maybe a common enemy will bring them back together. So we shall see. And then we have the match between Jada Parker and Lola Vice versus Fatal Influence. And we find out, finally, that the tag team is going to be JC Jane and Fallon Henley versus Jada Parker and Lola Vice. And so those are the two people from Fatal Influence that are going to be wrestling, JC and Fallon. During this match, Kalani Jordan was on commentary. She basically hardly said a thing, to be honest. I think there's only one reason why she was there, and you'll find that out in a second. But she barely talked the whole time, and when she did, she really didn't give a lot to the match. So that's just my own personal opinion. I will say though, so there's an ongoing thing that Lola and Jada are like not on the same page. That they are, they both argue a lot during the match. I mean, but they're so good. The two of them together or apart. Like they're again best women's division in all of wrestling. And Jada, Kalani, and Lola are three of the reasons why. Roxanne Perez, Julia, now Stephanie Vacour, like they're like Cora, like they're all, and I'm just touching upon it. Like they really need to. I think at some point they need to do a full women's card, and they could definitely fill 2 hours if not 3, just in NXT alone. So Ruka, like, so good. Anyway, at one point, well, at 2 points actually, Lola, because of the other team, accidentally hits Jada 2 times, and then after the second time, Jada decides, well, screw it, I'm leaving, and walks out. And then eventually Fatal Influence wins because it's 2-on-1, almost 3-on-1. And they call out, then after the match, they call out Kalani Jordan. Kalani Jordan comes in and says she's got a surprise, and then you hear there's a storm coming, and all of a sudden, Kalani's in the ring, and then Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair come in, and the three of them, beat the crap out of a Fatal Influence. Which, listen, again, they're pulling out all the stops. It's the first week on the CW. They're pulling out the big guns. I mean, do you blame them? No. Jade and Bianca and CM Punk, they're all huge draws. Bring them out. Kind of stinks though that excuse me, I apologize. It kind of stinks though that they couldn't say that they were coming ahead of time, because probably more eyes, I'm guessing, more eyes would have been on the product tonight. But they did announce a match for next week, which we'll talk about. So after that, then we had an NXT Focus segment, which I've never seen before, but apparently it's a new thing. And it's on Javon Evans. And Javon Evans is talking about next week he meets Randy Orton in St. Louis for the second episode on the CW. And he says he's facing one of his idols. And that and then Randy gets on and he says he wants to see what Javon's made out of. And Randy says this could be the match that makes Javon Evans one of the top prospects at NXT. And he also says that he wants to see if he can hit an RKO on Javon Evans. So we shall see. So then they do a promo for next week's episode, and it's Fraxium, which again, Nathan Frazier and Axiom, against A-Town Down Under for the NXT titles, which again, if you remember last week I said, and I still believe this, I'm going to believe this for a while until they normalize it, the NXT titles are props. Like the tag team titles, I'm saying. It's a prop. Like for like at least a year, they've just been using it to further along other storylines. That's just my own personal opinion. So we'll see how that goes. Also, of course, we've got the North American title match next week in St. Louis. Tony D'Angelo against Oba Femi. And then they announced that there's going to be a 6-woman tag team match with Jade and Bianca and Kalani Jordan. And they will face all 3 members of Fatal Influence. So that should be fun. It's always fun to see Jade and Bianca. And Kalani Jordan is basically... They're all kind of the same style wrestler, pretty much. So they've announced 3 matches now. And then, of course, then we also have Randy and Javon Evans. So far, that's 4 matches for next week. I don't know if there'll be more than that, but we'll see. Then we have, again, I said before, they had the preview package with Keith Lee. Oh my God, we'll rate it 1 to 10. Anyway, sorry. I got it. Let's try it. You guys ever hear that? Anyway, we have. They did with Wesley and Zach Wentz, they did another promo package for the title match between Ethan Page and Trick Williams. Just to kind of, and CM Punk, just to show where we are, how we got to where we did. Again, in case there's people that didn't see, up until before today, now you're caught up, so you can see what's going on. First person that comes out is CM Punk in his hometown of Chicago, and then a commercial. And during the commercial, they did a promo for Bad Blood, which is Saturday. Special start time 6:00. This is Bad Blood. It's supposed to be a B-level pay-per-view, but man, this is a great PLE. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I don't know if I can see it live, but I will definitely watch it, shortly thereafter, and I can't wait. It's going to be great. Anyway. And then there was a promo. It was weird. I don't know who it was. It looked like a strong female walking in the other direction, but I don't know if it was who it was. I got a Jordan Grace kind of feel, but I'm not exactly sure if you know who it was. It was a promo of somebody just walking the other direction, and it was like, this person's eventually coming, but I don't know who it was. If anybody thinks they know who it is, leave a comment. I definitely want to know who they think it is. Okay, then we get back to the match with the NXT Championship match between Trick Williams and Ethan Page with special guest referee CM Punk. They said that Trick Williams is looking to be the 7th person to win the NXT Championship more than once, and when Trick came out, the crowd was bananas. They screamed. They were really screaming, "Whoop that Trick." I mean, it was... Listen, I hope, if not this year, then next year, I hope this year, Trick Williams is in the Royal Rumble, and I can't wait to hear, if he is, 70,000 people in Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis screaming, "Whoop that Trick." I would love that to happen. I also want to see Joe Hendry, too. That's just a personal thing. I would love to see 70,000 people singing that song. Anyway, we're moving on. Anyway, then Ethan Page comes out, and he is he was booed terribly. And as he should be, he's a heel. He's such a good heel. He is the heel from the 80s and 90s. The one that everybody hates, and there's a reason why they hate him. I'm not saying I like Ethan Page as a person, as the character, but he is, and if you listen to him, he's the opposite. If you there's a Chris Van Vliet interview, and he is so articulate and such a good guy, but he plays the heel so well, and everybody just wants to see him lose. And I was right in my prediction, but we'll get to that in a second. I love the fact Mike Rome, love his intros. I think I've said this before. I'll say it again. I love when the crowd does, when he goes, "This match is scheduled for 1 fall," and the crowd goes, "1 fall." I love that. I wish they would do it for all of the episodes. Anyway, Punk raises the belt as the referee, and the match starts. He's calling it right down the middle. At one point, Ethan throws Trick into the barricade, and it breaks. And it seems to be happening a lot these days, especially the barricade that goes into the announcers area, the timekeepers area. I feel like 1 or 2 times a week that barricade breaks. I definitely did on Monday during the last Monster Standing match, and then again on Tuesday during the title match. They said a thing where they said that since Ethan Page has come into NXT, he has main evented every PLE that they have had since his debut after he won the title after 40 days of being there, which I thought was fascinating. At one point, Ethan Page does an Ego's Edge, which is basically Razor's Edge, through the announce table. Of course, during the times where it was holy, you know what, the sound was blocked, which is always kind of annoying. Well, I want to see if, because there was a lot of times where Fox would block out the screen. And the only way that you could tell, like during SmackDown, and the only time you could tell was actually not your TV, was when it said live on the top. I want to see if that happens more with NXT on CW. It's going to be interesting to see that. Anyway, moving on. At one point, so then there's a lot of near falls in this match, like a lot of near falls. At one point, Page looks at CM Punk, grabs Trick Williams, and hits the go to sleep on him as basically a up yours. I'm trying to be PG-13. Up yours to CM Punk, and then it goes back and forth a little bit more. He doesn't pin them after that. It goes back and forth a little bit more. And then Trick Williams hits the trick shot and wins the match and wins the title back. So I did get that one right. He definitely won the match. Fortunately, I didn't get the fact that they were going to be first. But either way, it was a great show. Crowd goes ballistic. Whoop that trick. And at the very end, Page and Punk start shoving each other. And Punk picks him up and hits the go to sleep. And then immediately after that, the show ends. So they timed it like boom, that fast. I would call this episode, so this is on the scale of regular episodes to PLE for NXT. And listen, again, if you have never seen a PLE for NXT, please go back and watch one. The wrestling, because obviously PLEs focus more on the wrestling and less on the story. Like it's the payoff of the payoff of the story in the wrestling match. If you haven't seen a PLE for NXT, please go back and watch one. The PLEs are insane. They're amazing. And I am going to be doing the reviews for the PLEs in the future. And I can't wait because the PLEs for NXT, like don't get me wrong, like the main event PLEs, most of them are good. Some of them, are not that great. Remember SummerSlam 2023? But I can't remember a bad PLE for NXT, honestly. Like I'm sure there was one, but I don't remember. So definitely catch that if you can. I think this show was on the scale of regular show to PLE. I think this was probably a couple notches down from PLE level. I think there was a lot of cool things that happened. Obviously, they're bringing out a lot of stops for the first episode on the CW, but they're definitely wanting to move the product forward. I can't wait to see what the second episode is going to be like, and I really can't wait to see what they're planning on doing for the third episode, because the only thing I'm guessing it sounds like the third episode is going to be back in the Performance Center, and I'm interested to see how that's going to play out. So anyway. Let me know what you think. Nobody's leaving comments. I want to see comments. You don't have to like it. If you like it, you don't like it, that's up to you. But comments, I want to see what you think about the show. How can I get better? What do you think? What do you think about the way what I'm talking about? I want to hear you. I love comments. Even just to say hi. Hey, you're doing great. You suck. It's fine. Whatever. Just that I know somebody's out there listening. I know Matt says that we're getting a lot of downloads, and I think that's great. But I really want to hear from you. Let me know. Don't forget, Patreon. Lots of tiers. No commercials. So if you're listening on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and there's commercials, go to Patreon. And also, Apple Podcasts has an ad-free version. You pay $5 a month for all the shows that we have. You don't hear any commercials. That's great. I'm a Patreon myself. I pay Patreon so that I don't have to hear commercials when Amanda does her show and when Matt does his show. Like, I love listening without the commercials. So anyway, thanks a lot for listening to me. Let me know what you think. I can't wait to do the St. Louis show next week. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment box. Thank you so much, and I look forward to hearing you soon.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.